Good morning, everybody. Good morning, as my grandfather would say. I'm so excited to be with you this morning. As I said, I'm going to be doing an Instagram Live every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. And here we are at our first one. So thank you for joining me. And I'm going to wait a few minutes, maybe a minute or so, to let people join in. And I'm here in my studio. And it's a beautiful Tuesday morning. I'm looking out at the woods here, and it's just beautiful shafts of light shining through the trees. It's just lovely. And so this is the morning that I'm excited to start connecting with you guys. So hello, and let's just start by talking about what I'm going to be doing in these live videos. There's so much that we could talk about here. But I want to keep it centered around What the Night Sings. Good morning. And we're going to talk starting with the characters in What the Night Sings. We're going to go a little bit deeper into who they are, what they were inspired by, sort of what they bring to the table, each one of them in their own personalities. And I do want to start by telling you that I am on Patreon. I've joined the ranks of Patreon creators, and I thought that I would do that so that people could join me in the work that I'm doing. So a lot of what I do is going around to different schools, colleges, cultural institutions. I do book signings, and I'm trying to deal with a lot of different kinds of issues. When I speak, I'm speaking about the book, but because the book is a story of the post-Holocaust period, it has a lot of relevance. There are those of you who are interested in the Holocaust in general. It's kind of an unfathomable subject. You could keep going deeper and deeper and deeper, and some people have, a deep interest in that, but also a big truck going by. There's the subject of the Holocaust is really relevant to today. And so I thought that, in terms of speaking engagements, I'm speaking with a lot of young adults and kids and teenagers and people from all walks of life who a lot of them don't really know a lot of the basic details about the Holocaust and why it matters today. And so if you're interested in the work that I'm doing and you want to support it and help me to have these conversations with folks about how we can avoid going down similar paths in the future, but also to just, I have a real passion for our cultural conversation right now and the kinds of things that we're doing, the ways that we're talking with each other, the public square. And that's if that's important to you, and you want to help me, host those conversations, you can join me on Patreon. When I do these events, these live events, our Q&A winds up going, oh, hi, good morning. Our Q&A winds up going overtime almost every time. There's just so much that people want to talk about that the book brings up and that our conversation brings up. So if you are interested in that, please join me on Patreon. I'm at patreon.com/vesper-illustration. And you can join me anywhere from $5 a month on up. I haven't worked out exactly the perks that I'm going to offer, but there will be some behind the scenes content, and we'll have a good time. But if you feel like you want to be part of this and helping me to do that, then that's great. So I'm going to leave that aside for now and start talking about our first topic. Oh, hi, everybody. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is our heroine in What the Night Sings, Gerta Rausch. So that's how you say her name. Gerta, not Gerta, Gerta Rausch. So I'll just read you a little bit about her. When we meet Gerta, she's 16 years old. She's just about to turn 16 years old. She's always dreamed and even felt this sense of destiny about being a great opera singer because she has this stepmother who is this famous coloratura. And so Gerta, she's also the dutiful daughter of a violist, and so he has her doing her scales every day and learning the basic repertoire, like a good daughter inheriting the family business, so to speak. But her real passion is when she discovers that she has this singing voice, that she actually really does have a talent with operatic voice. And so her stepmother mentors her in this, and but she's kind of got these two musical expressions going on, and the question is which one belongs to her, which one is her. So because her father has trained her in this family business of viola, that fact ultimately saves her life. There's a mistake when she and her father arrive at Auschwitz, and she's holding his viola case, and she's mistaken as a violist, and she's put into the women's orchestra in Auschwitz, which is a real thing. There was an orchestra made up of women in Auschwitz, and they would be playing when people would be getting off of the cattle cars, getting off of the trains, and they would accompany those new arrivals on their walk to the gas chambers. They would also provide music to the laborers who were marching out every morning. So it's a really dismal and it's a real perversion of what music is for, and Gerta is forced to engage in this. This is new to me. So someone requested to be in my live video. I don't know if that means that it would be a split screen. Let's do that maybe another time when I know more. But please feel free to send in any questions that you have as I'm talking. And we'll probably be here for about 10 minutes, I would say. So hi to all of you who are joining. Thanks. So Gerta grows up with this idea of what a musician's life looks like. She doesn't know that she's Jewish when she's taken. And so she grows up in this musical household where the religion is music. It's this bohemian 1930s, 1940s German household. There's this romantic ideal, but there's also this, the reality of the day-to-day practice and discipline and everything. But she has this romantic ideal of a musical life that's kind of similar to what we all have about the music industry today. It's lots of money, it's lots of romance, and it's lots of pure artistry and expression. So the fact that is what helps her to survive in the camps. It's a completely different paradigm of how music is used, which in this case is part of a propaganda machine. So when she's liberated from the camps and she has to scramble for a paradigm to build on, she goes on what she knows. You return to what's familiar. When you're out of the immediate danger, you go back to what's familiar to you. So she goes on with this dream of being a musician, but she finds that it's falling short of what's actually coming down her path. So even though Gerta's journey looks very different from even though Gerta's journey looks, very different from what we kind of know and expect, for a teenager, she went through genocide and war and many near-death experiences. When I was learning about her character, I kept having to remember that she's still 16 years old. Gerta was not always a teenage character. What the Night Sings was not originally a young adult novel. It was an adult novel. And so when I was writing her, I had to really go back in time to try to remember how I processed things at 16, how I processed the things that were happening to me and the choices that I was making and what went into making those choices. So when we all process life at 16, there's so much urgency at that age. Everything is you feel like this need to figure it out, or you feel like you have to put forward this impression to people that you have it figured out. And that doesn't change based on what you've necessarily gone through. We develop as we develop in a certain sense. But yeah, that need to sort of figure it out quick before before, you're pushed out of the nest and you have to fly on your own. There's this desire to figure out like what kind of life you're going to build for yourself, like what kind of category you're going to fit in. And so you can have some kind of framework, to guide your decisions. Hi, everyone. But what always winds up happening is that destiny, in a way, somehow seems to have other ideas. And we have to adapt to the things that come our way. So ultimately for Gerta, it's a love, it is a love for music. And you'll find out if you read the book, what happens. But it's also a sense of love from another person who truly sees her as she is and not who she was trying to be. So for Gerta, the main question of her character is really the question of identity. And so for all of us, we're trying to figure out who we are and where we fit, and how much of what's happening to us is going to be what defines us, and how much we're going to sort of push back against that. And the question of who gets to define who we are. Where does our identity come from? Does it come from external sources? Is it something that we just make up on our own? Like we decide who we're going to be, But I think reality is a lot more complex than any of those answers. So that's a little bit about Gerta's character, and let me know if you have any questions about her, if you've read the book and you want to know if there's like certain behind the scenes things that you want to know about Gerta, or like where her character comes from. Happy to answer those questions, and you can DM me. And because I'm new to this Instagram live thing, this is our very first one, and I'll be doing these every week. My plan is that I'll address some questions that come in through the week through DMs, and we'll spend a little bit of time answering those questions. So I just want to remind you again that I have joined Patreon as a creator on Patreon. I haven't worked out exactly what the perks are yet. You can join anywhere from $5 a month to $100 a month, and that will be helping me to have these conversations in my live events with students, with community members, and you can bring me to your community. And I love speaking to people. So join me at Patreon and let me know if there's any perks that you think would help you feel like you had value in joining me on Patreon. So one of my plans is to have like a live group chat that's, that goes beyond the Instagram live, but is like more of a group chat where you can ask live questions, and we can just, talk about culture. We can talk about current events. We can talk about anything, but that would be a behind the scenes members only thing. I'm thinking maybe I would have, one of the perks would be a free book, a signed book. So if you have any ideas of what you feel like you would like to receive as a patron, let me know. I'm new to this whole thing, and I'm excited to see what it could be. So every week I'll be introducing you to a different character in What the Night Sings, and then we'll kind of get into, other aspects of the book. But so thank you again for those of you who have read it. And if you have read it, it would be a huge favor for me if you would leave a review on Amazon and Goodreads. My Goodreads is still like in its infancy, but Amazon, I've been getting awesome reviews, and thank you to those of you who have been leaving reviews. It's got almost a 5-star rating, and I'm very thankful for that. So it's also gotten great, reviews in publications and stuff. So I'm so grateful that you guys are engaging the story with me, that it's something that you're interested in and feel like is, a value to readers, and especially to young people. So if you want to have me come do an author visit, click the link in my profile. All of this will be ironing out and eventually be very easy to find in my link tree in my Instagram profile. So, and as always, thank you for remembering with me. Thank you for remembering the Holocaust and being part of this important work. So hi to you all. And oh, for you illustrators who are watching, I will be doing things like technique demonstrations. And so there's so many things that we're going to do on this Instagram Live every week. It's going to be awesome, but I'm going to keep it limited to about 10 minutes at a time. So thanks to all of you for joining. And for those of you who are going to watch later, so excited to have this conversation with you. Okay, let's keep it going. Bye-bye, all.